Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Bannon is back. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Just this morning, he was released from his political prison where he was being kept as a political prisoner by the deep state, by the Biden-Harris regime. Yes, that's right. And when I explain to you, for those of you who don't know what happened to Steve Bannon, when I explain to you in just a minute what they did to him and the reasons why they locked him up, you will realize, yeah, that was political. But this is a big deal. This is a very big deal. It kind of seems like all of the momentum is swinging in one direction. But I want to be very clear. In the words of Steve Bannon himself, do not get cocky, get out and vote. Don't get cocky, man. We ain't won anything yet. You know, polls are not the thing that goes out and votes. It's got to be you. It's got to be you. But let's get into the news. From the New York Post, Trump ally Steve Bannon released from prison after serving 4 months for contempt of Congress. Steve Bannon was released from a Connecticut federal prison early Tuesday after serving 4 months behind bars for failing to comply with a subpoena related to the January 6th Congressional Committee. Steve Bannon is a free man, Natalie Winters, who co-hosts the former Donald Trump advisor's War Room podcast, posted on X just after 6 a.m. The Federal Bureau of Prisons confirmed that Bannon, 70, had been released from the Federal Correctional Institution in Danbury, Connecticut, where he'd been since reporting on July 1st. He walked out with his daughter Maureen, according to CNN. A representative for Bannon also said he would hold a news conference later in the day in Manhattan. Bannon's release comes just 1 week before the 2024 election. The longtime Trump ally was found guilty of 2 counts of contempt of Congress, one for refusing to testify to January 6th committee, and a second for refusing to provide documents. Yes, this is what they held him in contempt of Congress for. Here is the issue with those charges. Like as this says right here. Let's see where what was his position in Donald Trump's advice. Former Donald. Yeah, okay. So he was an advisor to Donald Trump whenever Donald Trump was president. I don't know what you know about the presidency, but I want to explain this. The presidency, the executive branch, has something called executive privilege, okay? Where if basically the president has the right to say, these documents are not going to be released, these documents are going to remain classified, we don't want these documents out there. Well, so when Congress subpoenas Steve Bannon and they say, hey, we want you to come and give us these documents, the president has executive privilege. And in this case, Donald Trump said, no, you're not going to go to Congress and you're not going to release these documents. So now Steve Bannon is in between a rock and a hard place. He's literally stuck between 2 different branches of government, which means that this issue should have been passed on to the Supreme Court so that the Supreme Court could make a decision on what Steve Bannon is supposed to do. Because he's not trying to break the law. Think about it. If he had gone to Congress and gone against executive privilege, he would have broken the law. He would have broken the law, and he very easily could have been arrested by the DOJ. If he goes against Congress and goes against the subpoena and doesn't bring the documents that they want and doesn't come to testify, then guess what? He's also breaking the law and is arrested by the DOJ. This is the issue here. It's a very clear problem where this guy is stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's going to lose either way. What's he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? Either way, he's screwed. This should have been passed on to the Supreme Court so that they could have made a decision on how this situation should be handled, rather than just saying, oh, this guy's automatically a Trump criminal, we're going to throw him in a prison cell. Which is exactly what happened. And the reason why we know that that's what happened is because Trump did eventually release his executive privilege over Bannon. Bannon was supposed to go to Congress to testify and to bring documents. And they said, nope, too late. We don't care. We're going to throw you in a cell. That's what they said. That's the reality of the situation. But let's continue. Let's continue with this report. Although his sentencing occurred in October 2022, a U.S. district judge postponed the jail term while Bannon appealed the decision. A federal appeals court panel upheld Bannon's convictions in May. Bannon will continue to appeal the guilty conviction despite already serving his sentence. He referred to himself as a political prisoner when he began serving his sentence in July. I am proud of going to prison, he said then. He also slammed Attorney General Merrick Garland at a corrupt Justice Department before turning himself in. Speaking of Merrick Garland, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason why this is a big deal. I said that earlier in this video. There's a reason why this is a big deal. It's because Steve Bannon is an example of what's wrong with this country. I just explained to you why Steve Bannon was thrown in prison. He was in between a rock and a hard place, literally stuck between two different branches of government. Either way, whichever way he goes, he's screwed. He gets thrown in a prison cell. What's the guy supposed to do? But despite that, even after Trump released his executive privilege, they said, no, it's too late. We're going to make the choice to throw you in a prison cell. They didn't have to do that. They got what they wanted. Congress got what they wanted. They wanted him to come in and testify. They wanted him to come in and bring these documents. They got what they wanted, but that wasn't really what they wanted, was it? No. Because they just threw him in a prison cell. This right here is an example of what's wrong with this country. And you can say, "Oh, but he didn't do it. He didn't come in and testify. That is contempt of Congress." Oh, okay. So that's your stance? Okay, so I guess you think that old Merrick Garland should be thrown in a prison cell as well. I don't know if you guys remember this from the AP. Republicans vote to hold Garland in contempt of Congress. Here's what that means. From the AP, Merrick Garland became the third attorney general in U.S. history to be held in contempt of Congress Wednesday as Republicans moved to punish the Justice Department for refusing to turn over audio related to President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents. There you have it. There you have it. Congress held Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress, and they sent charges to the DOJ to have him arrested, and the DOJ said no. This is political, ladies and gentlemen. It's political. Absolutely 100%. Because they'll arrest Steve Bannon for something that is completely out of his control. He's literally, like I said before, 2 times now. Dude is literally stuck between 2 branches of the federal government where no matter which way he decides to go, they're going to throw him in a cell. If he goes against the executive branch, DOJ throws him in a cell. If he goes against Congress, DOJ throws him in a cell. This should have been handled by a Supreme Court decision so that we could make sure this doesn't happen again. But that's not what the Democrats wanted. It's not what they wanted. They threw him in a cell because he was a Trump ally. At least that's my opinion. And of course, that's backed up by this right here. The DOJ went along with Congress's charges for Steve Bannon, who was a Trump ally. But when it comes to Merrick Garland, they said, nah, I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to arrest that guy. He got the same charges. The exact same charges. Contempt of Congress. Don't care. He's Merrick Garland. He's a Democrat. So, we're just not going to respect those charges. We're not going to throw him in prison. I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is you can't get cocky. Because his release today is a big deal. It's a big deal. He's a perfect example of why the why the government is so corrupt and why this election is such a big deal. But you cannot get cocky, man. You cannot get cocky. You cannot think that you've got it in the bag, because that's when you lose. That's when you lose. I want to show you guys the polls right now from RCP, from the realclearpolling.com. These are the top battleground states. Let me go ahead and refresh just to make sure that we got the best numbers here. Okay. Donald Trump is currently leading 0.9 in all of the battleground states. This is the aggregate of all the polls put together. Okay. Arizona, 1.5 for Trump. Nevada, 0.7. Wisconsin, 0.3. Michigan, 0.2. Pennsylvania, 0.4. North Carolina, 0.8. And Georgia, 2.3 points. Man, this is a big deal, man. This is a very big deal. If you think that the government is corrupt, if you think that foolishness like this, like these things that are very clearly political. Oh, a Trump ally gets thrown in prison for contempt of Congress, but the Democrat head of the DOJ, we can't throw him in prison, even though he got charged with the exact same thing. There's just nothing we can do, He's a Democrat after all. I don't know, man. I think that this election is extremely important. I want to go ahead and show you guys. Donald Trump is now leading in the popular vote. He's leading Harris nationally by 0.1. Just to give you an idea of how big of a deal that was, in 2016, Clinton, at the same time, on October 29th, back in 2016, Clinton was leading 4.6 points over Trump. Trump ended up winning. And in 2020, on October 29th, Biden was leading Trump by 7.4 points. And now Trump today is leading by 0.1. Man. Now, you can clearly see in the past, the polls have had a heavy Democrat bias. I believe it was. I've said it before on the podcast on this podcast, but I believe it was in Wisconsin where they said that he was going to win the election by 6.9 points. Yeah, they said that Joe Biden was going to win Wisconsin by 6.9 points, and he still won the state, but he only won it by 0.9. They were off by an entire 6 points. Yeah. So, let's compare that to today. Let's go back to the top battlegrounds, and we see that, Donald Trump is up by 0.3 in Wisconsin. So if we take that same bias from 2020 and we apply it to 2024 in Wisconsin, you get Trump is actually up by 6.3 points in Wisconsin. Now, you can choose to believe that. You can choose not to believe that. That's fine. But even if you believe that there's no bias at all in any of the polls, there's no bias in these polls. No. Okay, well then Trump is still winning in every single poll. I don't know what to tell you, man. All I know is this. If we want to fix this country, there has to be change. And you can't say that Kamala Harris is change whenever she literally said that, like, they asked her, is there anything that you would do differently than Joe Biden? And she said, nothing comes to mind. So you're going to get a lot of the same with Kamala Harris. If you want to see a change, if you want to see something different in this country, you got to go with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the only one that's given us a different kind of pregnancy. Goodness gracious. Where did that come from? A different kind of presidency. My second child is on the way. So I guess that's probably what I was thinking of. So yeah, man. I think this is a good day. I think this is a good day that, Steve Bannon is out of prison. I think that it's good that these conversations are being brought up once again right before the election. We're just 7 days out. And I think that this election is going to be quite spicy, if you will. Just it's going to be crazy, man. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll find out in 7 days. You got to go vote. And if you're going to go vote, especially if you're going to vote for Donald Trump, you got to vote down ballot. You got to vote down ballot Republican. Because if he doesn't win the House and the Senate, they'll just impeach him. If Democrats are able to take back the House, they will just impeach him and remove him from office before he ever even gets a chance to do anything in the Oval Office. So you got to vote down ballot Republican. And for heaven's sakes, man, for heaven's sakes, I don't care if you're in a blue state. I mean, it could be deep blue California. I don't care. Go vote. There's like 10 million Republicans in the state of California. Go vote. And the reason why you go vote is because Donald Trump has to win the popular vote. This time around, he has to win the popular vote, because even if he wins the Electoral College, the Democrats will just say, we had the popular mandate. We had the people wanted Kamala Harris, but because of this archaic system, the Electoral College, we couldn't, yada, yada, yada. Don't give them that argument, man. Don't give them a way out. Go vote. You win Donald Trump the Electoral College. You win Donald Trump the popular vote. They have no argument. None. And don't make it close. Don't let it be close. Blow her out of the water. Politically, in the words of Joe Biden. Y'all remember that? He said... Dude was giving some kind of speech, and he said, we got to lock Donald Trump up. And all the Democrats start cheering for locking up Donald Trump. And then he goes, politically. It's like, okay, bro. Okay, like you didn't mean what you just said. I don't know, man. I don't know. Get out and vote, guys. I'm serious. Don't let it be close. Because if it's close, then, you're going to get the, 3 a.m., all the mail-in ballots suddenly decided to come in at 3 a.m. Oh, okay. Yeah. Go vote, man. Go vote. I'm going to leave it there. I'll have another video coming for you guys likely on Thursday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.